A very good morning, team, and welcome back to another daily market update. As you can see here, we have EURUSD on our chart. We're going to dive into the market, see what is going on, and analyze potential trade opportunities. Now, first of all, EURUSD has been consolidating extremely heavily. Yesterday, what is interesting to take note of is that the Prime Minister of Italy visited the White House to have discussions with Trump on a trade deal. There was currently no real progress made, hence why we also have not really seen any movements on EURUSD. The markets were anticipating a potential announcement about a trade deal, but nothing took place, and therefore we're still stuck within this overall range, and therefore no trades on EURUSD as of yet. Obviously, here on the higher time frame being the weekly, we can still very clearly see that we are trading at the overall swing highs over here. We've grabbed liquidity above this high and this high, and I'm still favoring a potential pullback play, but simply looking at the lower time frame, it is just consolidating, and there is no real use yet in getting into this market over here. Yesterday I thought that we could maybe see some further downside after breaking some of the lows, but you can see we're just grabbing liquidity time and time again to fuel another push up, and now we're just stuck within this range. So personally staying out of EURUSD until we see any updates on that. Now, obviously, the overall market is still bullish, but here, based on the fractal structure, I am very interested still in seeing a potential deeper retracement, at least in towards that 0.5 fib. And then if we refine that, we can have this area of demand here, obviously, to which I want to see a pullback as well before then looking for a new longing opportunity. However, shorts are not yet on the table due to the overall consolidative nature. Longs as well are not. So some messy price action going on over there. Not going to dive too much into it. Looking at the dollar index, we can see very similar price action. Obviously, the dollar index moves pretty much in line with EURUSD as well. The dollar index overall is still at the overall swing low. Now, you guys know it. We can very clearly see that the momentum is still in towards the downside. So I'm not trying to call any bottoms or tops, or in this particular case, a bottom. But what we can see here is that to the left, we have that liquidity low, which were equal lows here. We've grabbed that liquidity, and I'm now looking definitely for a pullback up higher in towards the overall daily buy before the sell, which is your daily area of supply. Now, a similar kind of price movement to this one is obviously one that I've talked about a lot back in 2016 and 17, where we also came underneath this liquidity low over here after ranging for a long period of time. And after coming underneath those lows, the daily change of character, which happened over here, kind of like fueled one more leg up before then the overall downside continuation once again. So keeping an eye on anything in that regard. Can we see a potential pullback come into play? Again, accumulation, manipulation on the high, and then distribution in towards the downside. But indeed, as soon as we come underneath that previous area of accumulation, we do see somewhat of a pullback. And now just looking for a similar move here on the dollar with accumulation, manipulation, and now the distribution phase. But again, the market should not always just push down lower in a straight line, but yeah, it should also pull back at some point in time. Now, obviously, here with the market consolidating as heavily as it currently is, I am not really interested in really calling the bottom. All I'm doing is in the back of my mind, I am anticipating on the fact that we could see some dollar strength come into the market. So that's that. Then going into AUDUSD, we can see here that the market as well is moving so slow. Overall, nothing has really changed as of yesterday. Let me just turn off this indicator here to make my chart a little bit more clean. Overall, very ugly price action, as we can see here. Actually, already since the beginning of the year, with manipulation in towards the upside, then obviously very hard manipulation in towards the downside, getting everybody stopped out, and then the V-shaped reversal back up again. Overall, still favoring a push up higher to take out all of these highs over here. But yeah, let's see the 4-hour time frame. Does that show anything? Not really. All I can actually kind of say here is that we had the 4-hour fractal high break. Then this is the 4-hour fractal low, 4-hour fractal high. We made a nice retracement in towards the downside yesterday morning, and then from there we start buying up again. So it makes sense, as long as this low now holds, to continue pushing up higher in towards these equal highs here. So I would be keeping an eye open for some potential longing opportunities. As of now, here on the 15, we obviously have this 50-minute supply zone in control. Looking at the 1 hour though, again, price action very messy, but let's keep an eye open for example, this area of demand over here or this area of demand over here. These are cleaner areas of demand because here we have, for example, 2 equal lows. Here we also have some liquidity underneath, so these are nicer areas to look for potential longs if we come inside of them and then get that change of character to look for some further upside, which is in line with the overall 4-hour bullish fractal structure and also in line with the overall daily fractal structure as well, and with that daily momentum. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for on AUDUSD. Going into GBPUSD, pretty similar overall. Again, we are still bullish. Looking here at the weekly time frame, obviously we are inside weekly supply, so looking for a potential pullback. Now, also keeping in mind that the dollar index could start pushing up higher again. That would mean GU down lower again, but again, we don't want to kind of like call or see ourselves catching the top, because the weekly time frame is extremely bullish. As we can see today, it seems like we're going to get another strong weekly candle closure. Looking here at the daily time frame, momentum is obviously in towards the upside as well. Now, going into the 4-hour, then what we can see is that we got that 4-hour fractal break. So the overall 4-hour fractal break here happened on this low, meaning that there was potential to then fuel the next leg down. Now here on the 4-hour time frame, there's no real clean area of supply. So then what I do is I go into the 1-hour time frame. Now on the 1-hour, even you can see that there's no real clean area of supply as well. Normally I would take the buy before the sell or the imbalances, but you can see here this buy before the sell already filled. This buy before the sell here at the top also like already filled. So there's nothing really clean in regards to supply zones whatsoever. Here on the 1-hour time frame as well, the overall momentum remains just bullish in towards the highs. Fractal high break, again a fractal high break, and now this is your fractal high, and over here you ultimately have your fractal low. So if you are looking for shorts, then you would need to wait for that shift to happen. Yeah, yesterday didn't get into any positions as kind of like the change of character that I was looking for happened too late into the day. Myself, I was looking at yesterday. So yesterday this 15-minute low break over here, but it was more just liquidity sweep again, no real candle closure underneath. Then I was looking at this 50-minute change of character over here, a lot of momentum. I identified this as potential supply to push the market down lower, but this was outside of my trading hours, so nothing really there as well. And then also if you look left, it's like no high probability areas of supply to push the market down lower. So again, very messy price action. You guys are probably experiencing it as well, hence why I'm just really staying out until we see some more cleaner market movements, and that is definitely here on the 1-hour needed. So what we would need on the 1-hour is, for example, this low break, momentum, and then another low break, momentum, form a supply chain, and then get in on that supply chain. Otherwise, the market will just continue pushing up higher, because obviously the daily and the weekly are still extremely bullish. Also, if you look at the daily, extremely bullish. So that's that. If we do get the bearish momentum, then obviously I'll start looking for shorts. Going into NZDUSD here on the daily, we can see that NU, and maybe let me have a quick look at the weekly as well. So NU is pretty much back in this previous imbalance over here, which in the past also pushed the market down lower. Now again, overall, this is like the sell before the buy that is in control. So I mean, we're now outside of that. We've on the daily time frame come above these two highs over here. We've had that overextended leg up, so a pullback would be pretty healthy overall. Looking here at the 4-hour though, we can see that there's still no sign of a real slowdown, and that the momentum is just still there. So I'm not really trying to fight the momentum. Sometimes what you'll see, because again, when do you expect a pullback? Well, you expect a pullback after like a fractal break. So here we have a fractal high break, here we have a fractal low break. So you could have seen this, for example, as supply, but you're going to see this on gold as well. Like these kind of like single breaks happen a lot just to grab liquidity, and again, change of characters happen everywhere in the market. It's about where they happen, and here to the left there's like no fresh area of supply whatsoever. So definitely wait for like a double fractal low break before getting into like real shorts. For now, this is your demand zone that is in control, so you don't want to be shorting here. Buys for myself are also a little bit late into the leg, but what I would do is I would wait for this low to go, then look for shorts, for example, on a double fractal break. So that we have a clear supply chain going on, and then you could get into some shorts, and otherwise keep an eye out for longs, because yeah, the overall momentum is still in towards the upside, and we are inside 4-hour demand as well. So that's for NZDUSD. Longs are pretty much the only thing on the table. Shorts, yeah, it's too early to catch the top. Also, we have no fresh area of supply to the left, and there are still a lot of highs here to get taken out, as this is pretty much kind of like the top of the overall liquidity run in towards the downside. So There's still a lot of potential for it to push up higher, but yeah, you're getting later and later into the leg. But yeah, I mean, also here on the daily time frame, this is now your daily demand zone, as this is the daily fractal low, this is the daily fractal high. So longs definitely still make sense here on NZDUSD. Going into UJ is still waiting for that daily fractal high break before taking any longs. So still just waiting for this overall high to go. If that high goes, then I'll be looking for longs. Until then, nothing, as simple as that. We're still inside weekly supply, or weekly demand, excuse me. So you're looking for buys if we do get that daily change of character. And then last of all, of course, we have gold. Gold analysis played out to absolute perfection, with us grabbing the liquidity on the 1 hour time frame, as we can see. Remember, we had all of these lows, and this happens time and time again on gold. We have all of those lows, we take the lows out, and now we're starting to see a reversal. So I wouldn't be surprised if gold just pushes back up in towards the all-time high. Again, yesterday, Italy tried to close a trade deal with the United States. Trump said that they are getting somewhere in the discussions, but that there is just simply said no trade deal made yet, and that the tariffs are still imposed, and this is still causing longs on gold. So I'd only focus on potential buys for gold into the end of the week. So I want to thank you guys. A little bit unclear market at the moment, but obviously we stay persistent in our analysis. We continue looking and seeing what's going on. And if you have any questions, make sure to join the Discord, link in the description of this video. Thanks, guys.